Hello, this is Jonesy from Jonesy TV reviewing Arrow Season 4, Episode 10, Blood Debts. This episode had some great moments, had some okay moments, and had some moments that weren't so great, but really, I like Anarchy. And the thing is, so many reviewers, they just don't like Anarchy. They're like, he's not like the comic Anarchy. He's not, but he's a cool character. I really think he's a good villain, and he's a good villain. You can have a good minor villain that comes in and uh, maybe his motives aren't clear, and maybe he's not, he's sort of crazy, and he's unpredictable, and really that was great. So he was a good part of this episode. Oliver is going through emotion. Felicity's been shot. Probably gonna. You don't know if she's gonna live or die, and so Oliver's. Almost every time in Arrow, in the history of Arrow, whenever one of Oliver's people gets hurt, he basically takes out his anger on trying to find out the person who did it, their location, and so the whole episode is basically devoted to that. Oliver trying to get out his rage by doing this, and he releases Anarchy, so Anarchy will lead him to Damien Dark, which is that's justified. I would I would do that too if I was in that same situation, or at least I could say I wouldn't know what I'd do. And so, that's realistic. It wasn't a plot point that was, stupid. It was good, but uh, this episode really was great. Um, the fight scenes, at least, with I think every fight scene with Anarchy, like I was saying, people say he's a bad villain, but I honestly think he delivers some of the best fight scenes Arrow's had in a long time. Like him or hate him, the fight scenes are great with him, and you know, he was. I think he was good this week, and he sort of became that sort of scapegoat for Oliver's anger. Oliver, of course, ends up saving Dark's family, but that was the one thing. This the point of the episode that I didn't like, because Oliver does all of this and he saves Dark's family, which I understand. He's a hero. He's supposed to, but at the same time, they did it in a really weird way. Like, Oliver shouldn't have just given him a break. Like, that's odd. That just seems weird to me. Especially after he'd been so mad. Even though he didn't want revenge. Because he's a hero. Heroes still have bad motives occasionally. They still have problems, and so that was the low point of this episode. I think the whole uh, Quentin Donna thing. It's funny, but like I said earlier in a review, I really don't like Donna's character, so that was sort of a turn off for me this episode. Uh, the Diggle, of course, had a, has been ongoing investigating about Andy, and Andy, uh, he's been interrogating Andy. In this episode, he reached a low point with Andy. He started, beating him for information, and eventually, and after that, he broke through. Now, it doesn't explain Andy's change of heart in this episode, but the thing is, reviewers, when they were reviewing this episode at the time after release, they were like, that's stupid. Well, this change of heart's instant because maybe it's genuine, maybe it's not. And that's explained later in later episodes. And I really don't appreciate reviewers just jumping the gun and saying that, because, that's like saying, "Oh, well, they didn't tell us the whole entire plot of this season. Like, why is he doing this now?" Well, they'll explain it later. People need to have patience. And really, I think when people say that was a down point of this episode, I really disagree with them there. But it was cool seeing David Ramsey's portrayal of Diggle and him interrogating his brother. I think he did a really good job in that whole brotherhood. Um, there was an episode devoted to the sense of brotherhood, but the whole entire brotherhood, uh, theme throughout the whole entire season is fantastic, and I think it's really one of the underlying themes of season 4 of Arrow. Now, this episode had more issues than a lot of Arrow episodes, and a lot of ones that you can't avoid. I mean, not that you can't avoid, that they should have avoided. Excuse me. I would give this episode a 7.9. I honestly like this episode, and I honestly think that some people will think it's really good, and some people will think it's really bad. But there's certain points of this episode that I just didn't. It was hit and miss with me, so I'd give it a 7.9. It was still a good episode, but it wasn't like Brotherhood level or any other of the or Legends of Yesterday level. It was still great, but it wasn't good. So this has been my review for Arrow season 4, episode 10, I believe, if not 10. Well, Arrow season 4, Blood Debts. Let's just say that. This has been Jonesy from Jonesy TV. Really hope you enjoy my review. Signing off.